I would say that cheerleading is a sport where we're not going to ask you to change or to fix something on you in order to continue your sport. Okay. You're perfect just the way you are. We want you. We don't want what you look like. We want you to join the team.
Welcome back to After the Routine. I'm your host, Rochelle Provo, and I'm here with your favorite MC, Nadia Belzy. Nadia Belzy is a professional MC, founder of Fates to Brute, and a well-known voice in the cheerleading community who brings energy to competitions and events across Canada and on the international stage. If you have ever had the pleasure of being at a competition with Nadia, you know that she brings everything to it and turns events into an unforgettable experience for athletes, coaches, and families. She's a two-time Canadian Choice Award winner and was the first French-speaking announcer at Cheerleading Worlds, which she is heading to for the third time this year, which is so exciting. She is part of the official announcer staff at the National Bank Open. She's received the Leadership Award from Cheer Quebec in 2024 and was honored at the 20th edition of Quebec's Women's Influence in Sport in 2025. She has also led a highly successful Black History Month project in the cheer community, which I cannot wait to talk about more. So thank you so much for being a part of this podcast, Nadia.
Thank you so much for having me, everybody.
I know that I mentioned this before the podcast, but it was one of the things that when I started this, you were one of the most requested people that everyone wanted to hear from. So I cannot wait to talk all about it and dive into what really has made your career, where you've gone from it, and just talk about everything.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, guys. This is always a blessing to know that, I have so many supporters, especially in this big cheer community that I guess started local, obviously in my province. I'm from Quebec. And, one thing led to another. Decided to go outside of my comfort zone, go outside of my province. And yeah, next thing you know, for my third year in a row, I have the privilege and also a great opportunity of doing what I do full time and be able to travel all around the world. Yeah.
I love that. So how did you get started in the sport?
Because I talk too much. Basically, I started back in 1998. So it was like really way back. Started cheerleading when cheerleading was still considered, as what we have regular stereotype, pom pom girls, sideline girls, the cheerleaders for like footballs, baseball. And when I started, it was supposed to be only for a replacement, only for a test, because back then I used to do karate. I was actually brown belt karate,
Wow.
like one more step before having my black belt. And it was my last year of high school, my senior year in high school. And it was supposed to be a replacement, replace for a dance, replace for a certain stunt position and basket tosses. Some of my friends told me if I wanted to join a dance group, they didn't want to specify that it was cheerleading because, again, the stereotype was so high. And they were afraid, that I was going to say no about it. So they told me that it was a dance troupe. And when I got there and I saw like the pom poms and I saw that it was actually a cheerleading practice, the first 10 minutes, obviously I got into the stereotype. I was like, first of all, I'm a very super like full body girl, I wasn't the type of like super skinny, the blonde and everything. So I was very, very tomboyish. And when they told me exactly my position, we need builded girl, we need, strong girls. in order to do the foundation. You're not actually going to be the flyer or the top. 15 minutes after, when I saw like my first basket toss, when I saw it actually into the air, I flipped. I was like, oh my God, that is so cool, you know? And yeah, next thing you know, it took me a month and a half to learn the routine. I got into the cheerleading competition. And again, back then when I started, it was nothing compared to what we know of the All Star cheerleading right now this year, like almost 30 years from now. And yeah, and then the next year went there for a full year, and then the year after, and yeah, 28 years later, I'm still there.
I love that.
Started as an yeah, I started as an athlete, and then a couple of years after, I got interested of coaching. I didn't go full on coaching. I believe that I coached only 2 years, but that 1 year in 2007, I believe 2007 or 2006, when I did my competition right after my routine, I noticed that competition that I did that we were not introduced. Like there was only like an announcement saying that, you know, my team was going to compete. So we went, we did our routine, and backstage when I went back, the actual like event producer at that time came up to me and said, "Listen, my announcer just dropped me. He's not gonna make it. He's not gonna be there throughout the entire day. I heard that, you know, you have this energy. You are not afraid of talking in front of the public. That's what your coach said. Could you be able to announce for the rest of the day?" So I was like, okay, never done that. Like, she just gave me the mic and she's like, do what you got to do. Like, you have literally green card over this. And I went on stage. The light went through. The public was there. I just start talking. And yeah, next thing you know, I never, never, never gave back the mic. Never.
I love that. I am as someone who also loves talking, I feel like there's so many opportunities within the sport for people to really shine in that area, whether that is through coaching, MC, even just going to like conferences and talking to people. So I love that so much. And then how did you really develop that skill set where you're like, I love talking, but now to like bring all that energy and really hone your craft, what did you do?
Again, in the past, when I was an athlete, when I did my cheerleading competition, I saw like the hosting and how was it. And I guess that, you know, it was never seen before someone that was doing the MC, and it was actually someone who knew what cheerleading was all about. I guess I believe, I don't want to quote myself or confirm this, but I guess that I believe, again, back in my province, that I was the first MC who knew what cheerleading was all about, because the previous announcers, the previous MC were part of, um, you know, an animation company, an MC company, but that does
Yeah.
other sports event, that does everything. It was not someone who was an athlete before or who was coaching before. So, you know, they had their piece of paper, they had everything in mind you. And I don't want to remove the success that they had, but, you know, I guess that it was not memorable because it was like a regular announcer, you know, saying the team's name and do the awards, couple of games, and then that it was, you know, all about like raising their hands, and it was cool. But cheerleading wise, I guess it was, you know, another MC that we could pick and choose. So when I started to do the events, I decided to also take the public into our cheerleading world. So I knew the divisions, I knew the levels, I knew what cheerleading was all about. I knew that, you know, that 2.5 minute routine, like we've worked months and months for that 2.5 minutes. So I created kind of like a skill at the beginning. I used to call this my Nadia 101 session. So in between teams, if we had like some dead time, I was basically taking the mic and explaining to the public what cheerleading was all about. I was explaining the section. It's not only a show, it was not only, you just go there and do your routine. No, you had to practice with your team, first of all, the timing, the execution, stunts, pyramid, cheerleading, tumbling, dance move, everything that has to do with a routine. And also, obviously, you're not the only one. There is no I in a team. So I was always repeating to the public that, you are your child's biggest fan, but you need to remind yourself that your child is not the only one in the team. It makes you need to be a group, you need to be a unity in order for you to create that team. So counting your pointing positions and everything is very, very important. And you have that chance to be able to show this to the public, but only for 2.5 minutes. And I don't know, like even myself, I'm asking this question even after 20 years, the energy. Naturally, I'm a person that really, really has a lot of energy. Be able to talk and talk for many, many hours. We're talking about 10, 12 hours, and that's only on day one. And then you got day two, adding up like the award ceremony and, waiting for the judges to provide the results, so I had to um, create, always need to create, always need to invent, always asking myself if I was a parent or if I was someone in the public, what would be interested for me to say that, hey, you know what? I really enjoyed my time and it was really fun. So the 101 classes, obviously, do some show offs, stunts, ask a team to do like different positions in the air, the music, have the spectators involved. So everything that, again, saying that, you know what, we need to always remain this active, keep this alive throughout the entire weekend. I tested. Some of them worked throughout many, many years. Some of them I had to let go because it was either taking too much time. Security wise, it was not suggested. So, hey, you try. If it's good, good. If it's not good, change it for another thing. And yeah, I guess that, it's been 20 years that I've been doing that. And it keeps on going and going and going.
I love that so much. Yeah, I think there is like when you're talking about keeping that energy as a family member, you only think about that. Like you're there for your kid, you're probably there for 2 or 3 hours. But like you said, like there are people there from right in the morning when those doors open to when those doors close, and they don't necessarily see that opening part, right? Like if you're a worlds or an older team, like you're usually later in the day, you're not seeing the U6s, the U8s. And so you need just as much energy for them as you need for those little ones in the morning.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's the type of energy also that you need to give. In the morning, obviously that energy needs to double up or even sometimes triple because of the fact that you have the prep divisions, you have the babies, you have the U8 and the U6. So they need you to see you jump all over the place, okay? Compared to older teams, or U18, the open, the international team, where it's much lay low. We don't need to talk to them and have lots of gesture. All they want is to get on the mat, okay? The music starts and they do what they got to do. So the way that I speak to the audience is, listen, like, y'all better make some noise, okay? Because they've been practicing and we're talking about much more higher levels here. So be ready to be like amazed and surprised compared to in the morning. Hey guys, I know it's early in the morning, but guess what? You are part of the event. You make this event happen. So thank you so much. Make sure that caffeine is kicked in because we're going to see happy kids running around. We're going to see everything glitter. We're going to see screaming. We're going to hear it all. Yeah, you manage that. I guess that I have to manage the type of energy that I take, because if I give it all in the morning, obviously towards the end, and especially on day two, towards the end, like my energy will be completely off, because guess what? I'm still human, I'm not a
Yep.
robot. But yeah, sometimes back then, way back, I remember finishing with no voice. I
Yep.
literally had no voice during the event, but I was still able to be there and be able like to amaze people and surprise people and jumping around. And the smile is very powerful. Whenever you smile at someone and whenever you communicate that aura that you have, even though that you don't have any voice. So it's very important. And also, I guess that throughout the years with social media, it really helped me to stay connected with those people that I'm seeing every single weekend by having my Instagram page and, by showing to people where I was going, what my next event would have been. And I do answer to most of my DMs. So either that I get questions, either that I get feedbacks. I'm taking that time to still stay engaged with my people. So that is absolutely amazing. And I believe that this is what makes me kind of like stand apart compared to
Hmm.
other MCs, which again, that I'm not taking their greatness. They're absolutely amazing. But I believe that people, if you throw out a survey about what is really interested with Nadia, most of them will let you know that like she's real. She's really real. She takes the time to just talk to you, give you some advice, give you feedbacks, encourage obviously all of the athletes, and yeah, support the parents as well.
I love that. I know Liz's gym, who's my co-owner of my business. All of her athletes get so excited when they find out that you're the MC. And then when I moved from Ontario to BC, you were the MC here for provincials, and I was like, guys, like it is an experience. Like you are going to love her. And they all came back. They're like, we need to see her again. Like when can we see her? So yeah, no, it is very much like you are going, it's a brand and you're known. And I think that that energy, like you said, it does bring a different mindset to it, right? A different energy, a different experience, which as a coach is amazing. As an athlete, you get more excited to be there because you have that energy. And it keeps those parents engaged. And I love the education part of it as well, because I think as we look at the sport as a whole and like getting more people wanting to go to prep, go to all star, move through those levels, I think that that part really does help them kind of just, I'm all in, like, let's go, like, let's do this.
Absolutely. Something that I could add is, I've been doing that for many, many years in my province. So I guess that they got used to it, which is good. The challenge for me of going outside of the province, one of my biggest challenge was obviously brand new customers, brand new audience, from the West Coast to the East Coast, to all the way down south, in the United States, in Mexico, you always have that new audience where you don't know how they're going to react. So whenever I say to people that, hey, sometimes, I'm scared. I'm scared to just go there and be able to start the show. And people are like, what, Nadia, you scared? You're Nadia, you cannot be scared. Actually, I am, because who knows, you don't even know how the crowd is going to react. Maybe they're going to say, oh my god, who's that girl screaming out there, jumping around, back and forth? Oh, she has too much energy for me. Like, obviously, 1 plus 1 is 2, a cheerleading competition. You need to have that sort of energy. And again, from people from the West Coast, in every single province, every single new event and new opportunities that I have, they don't know each other, spectators, teams, coaches, but something that always, always, always come at the end of the event is, wow, like your energy was all the way on top. Thank you for providing this to us because these are very, very long days. And I got entertained, it was really good. So, at the end of the day, I'm sitting down and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm doing something good.
Yep. And I think that it really comes from a place where you had talked about, right? Like you have a background in the sport, you have a love for the sport, and that comes out. And I think that's been the most interesting thing with all of our guests that we've had on the podcast. It really has been that love for the sport is what drives them. It really like it's what they're passionate about. They love making a difference in that part. And that comes across 100% when you are on the stage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you're passionate of something, obviously you're going to give it all you got. I didn't get the opportunity of cheering international. Therefore, that was the reason why that it took me 9 years actually to get my part at Worlds. And with the help of the event producers that I've known at that time, they were able to give me a reference letter, which I forwarded to the event producers at Worlds at ISF, and yeah, in 2000, in 20 no, in 2020 no 2024, actually in 2024, when I had the email of saying, hey Nadia, we would like to for you to join us to be part of the announcement. Like I cried the entire day. For me it was an opportunity. For me it was winning a full paid bid. It was
Yep.
something so nice because for the past 10 years, I was able to go at Worlds as a supporter, to be able to support all of my Canadian teams, Team Canada included as well. And when I was seeing them perform on that stage, on that world stage, I remember I had a picture taken back in 2015 of me looking at that stage. And in my head, I really had that goal. I'm like, one day I will be holding the mic and I will be talking from that stage and saying, welcome everybody to the most prestigious competition, cheerleading competition of the entire world. And I'm your host, Nadia. And yeah, next thing you know, 9 years later, it came through. Be able to speak in French also, because we all know it's a big international competition all over the world. So, yes, we have English, which is the main language, but so many countries does not either speak or understand English properly. So having a voice other than English, which is French, of announcing this absolutely amazing competition, it was breathtaking. It was really absolutely amazing. And that part, when I close my eyes, is still there. I remember stepping out of the Atlantic Center. That was my first arena where they just gave me the mic. The opening, I started at 8 o'clock in the morning. And in order for me to give like the important message to the spectator, I turned
Yeah.
around and I'm like, do you mind if I also say it in French? And they're like, you know what? Do it. Why not? And it was big. It was really a big moment. And 3 years after going back into actually 2 days, going back for the third year in a row, doing what I do best. Yeah.
I love that. And it all came from you putting yourself out there and saying, hey, like, I want to do this. Like, here's the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I think that, yeah, that's for a lot of people, we get very nervous about putting ourselves out there. And I think there also is a lot of benefit to saying, like you said, like, I want to do that. Like, let's manifest this idea. What's my goal? How do I get there? And then putting yourself out and being able to do that.
Absolutely. And the worst that could happen when I say to people when they're saying, what's your advice, Nadia? Like, what could you say to someone that is looking up to you and wants to do whatever you're doing? I'm like, hey, keep on trying, because guess what? You're not going to have yes for the first time. If you do, great for you. Like, wow, super great for you. Okay. But in life, you're going to be rejected multiple times. Okay. Throughout my 20 years of experience, I had, even up till now, up till this season, I was refused events. I was said no multiple times. You know what? First of all, business is business. I get that. And it's not because one door is shut down that you cannot have access to other doors. There's multiple doors that you could go and seek out and present yourself, which the reason why that I created my company 3 years ago, where I said, you know what, in order for me to do this every day, to do this as a full-time job, I need to get out of my comfort zone. Cheerleading has been my baby for many, many years. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe my energy could be heard elsewhere other than cheerleading. I am doing the tennis open.
That's
This
so
is actually
exciting.
going I know. This is actually going to be my fourth year doing it. And funny story, when I was approached to do that, the first thing that I did, first thing that I said to them and I shared with them is, guys, I don't know anything about tennis. Like, I have no clue how it works. And they responded by saying, hey, that's the reason why that we contacted you 3 months ahead. So you got 3 months to learn tennis. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is how bad I guess that they wanted, because in return, I was told that they wanted to change the atmosphere. They wanted to have a little spark, a little energy, some little change instead of, only doing the interview, lend the mic over to the player, just a back and forth. They wanted to have more. So my first year when I did it, I was so amazed because I was able to see Venus Williams.
What an opportunity.
That was such an opportunity. And, just go there, be able to ask question. Obviously, my first year, I had no clue of what I was asking. I was just able to, create some questions, tennis wise, tennis related. But now that I'm down to my fourth year, like last year, it was a big change. I knew the game. I knew how it works. I was able to, actually study the players, both men and women. So my last year was a really game changer because I added a little bit of Nadia spark, meaning that when I asked the question in English, I'm like, listen, we're in Montreal, we're in French. I believe that some of the audience doesn't speak English. So immediately I was able to listen to what the tennis player was saying, and I was able to translate that back in French. So again, the audience were really, really amazed. Obviously, some cheerleading fans are also some tennis fans. So throughout my social media, I was receiving so much love, so much praise of saying, hey, Nadia, you are everywhere. You're all over the place. And we love that. And again, funny story. This year, last year, I went to Jamaica on a girls trip with one of my best friend, and Jamaica Jamaica. I'm in Jamaica. I'm talking to my friend, and this lady came up and she's like, excuse me, your voice is so familiar. Do you host some cheerleading competition? I'm like,
Awesome. I know you always think like you're like, oh, it's such a big world, but it's so small. Like there are so
it
many
is a tiny
connections.
world. All the way from Jamaica. Okay. So
You're like,
she
I'm not
was
even
able
in a
to
cheerleading
recognize her.
competition right now.
It's crazy. Even this year I had issue booking my flight, one of my flight back in January. So I called Air Canada customer service. I gave out my information. Yeah, my name is Nadia Belzy and everything. And the girl was like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit creepy what I'm going to ask you, but are you the MC of the cheerleading competition? I'm like, oh my God, I am playing the lottery tonight. It's crazy. Oh, I guess that my voice also, whenever someone hears me, they hear the voice first, and after they're going to be able to put a face into it. But yeah, a strong and unique, powerful voice, which I'm still doing under construction. I'm still considering myself as a beginner, even though it's been 20 years that I've spread my love and my passion towards cheerleading. But company wise, I am almost finishing my third year. And my goal is to just basically expand, go towards the corporate side, during cheerleading off season, be able to maybe collaborate with my city, be able to do other stuff other than cheerleading, as long as you need some entertainment, if you need to have someone who could voice out your event, well, this is like my next goal.
Love that. Now, you talked a little bit about how long days are. So, for athletes, coaches, and families that don't see kind of the very intense, kind of wild side of it, but there's so many parts to making sure the event is successful. So, what are those things for you that maybe they don't see backstage or behind the scenes that you wish that they knew about?
The time, okay?
Yeah.
As we all know, we have a schedule to follow, okay? And the schedule is not only the performance section, okay? As gyms, athletes, teams, and coaches, we have like the other that is before the wait time and before the performance, okay? So
Yeah.
obviously you have your warm up times, which I believe that most of the parents are familiar, are aware, because you need to drop your kid almost 2.5 hour prior to the performance. But I guess that, they don't actually get it. If I have my team that is supposed to be on the floor for, let's say, 2 p.m. flat, well, starting as of 1:20, they have to be at warm up, and they have different section. And at 1:55, which is 5 minutes before that 2 p.m. dot, that's when I have the chance to see them backstage, because this is their wait time. Okay. So whenever we get a call into the walkie talkie, or someone that is running back and forth saying that, we have this team or this team that didn't show up, or they need more time and this. So it really affects the entire schedule up to the performance time, So this is something that we need to manage. And as much as we can, we are very transparent when it comes to that too, because again, thanks to technology, you do have access to now online schedule that we could change no matter what. So if your team was supposed to pass at 2, and you do a refresh on the schedule, and you do realize that your team has been bumped to 3:30 in the afternoon, at least you're okay. Okay. You're not going to get like that scandal, or, the fan zone that is there and saying, hey, my team was supposed to be performing and it's not, at least you have the coaches that will be putting something on the parents group,
Yeah.
everything that has something that we could control. Something, unfortunately, that we cannot control: incidents on the mat, something
Yeah.
wrong that is happening on the mat. We're stopping the music, we're stopping anything wise, because we need to check if the athlete is safe and okay, So that is completely out of our control. This is backing up times. So for me as an MC with the experience, when I'm less than 8 minutes, I don't want to say 10, because 10, I'm freaking out. Okay. Whenever I say 8 minutes behind, so we're talking about two teams behind, it is possible to get that time towards the award ceremony. Okay. Depending where also you are on the schedule. it is manageable. It is okay. But whenever you have stuff going and going and going, my worst time, obviously at that time, we didn't have the first aid that we had on
Mm.
spot, because after these many years, you learn, right? You learn from the previous event. What could you do better in order to avoid what happened on the previous event? So back at the beginning, when I used to host, we had to stop the competition. We had to dial 911. The ambulance had to come. So we were like back scheduled for almost 35 to 40 minutes. It's like
Yep.
half of a block. Competition back then on day one was supposed to finish at, let's say, 7 p.m. It could go all the way to 9:30. Okay. But again, we learned from our mistakes. I'm not saying it's a mistake. We learned from the process, from the previous
Hmm.
process, and be able to do it way much better. Again, that's why that we have our first responders right now on the spot, so we could take care of the athlete and be able to move them away so we could be able to continue the competition. Again, something that people doesn't know is I'm human, okay? I need breaks.
Yep.
Okay. I give me a break. Event producer, which I understand completely. They have a way long schedule to go. So many teams have registered to the event. So it needs to go on and on and on and on. So in between blocks, it is very rare now that you're going to get a break of like an hour and a half. Maybe
Yeah.
it's 40, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Okay. But either you have the awards ceremony included in that 40, 50 minutes. So I'm doing the awards ceremony. Right after the awards ceremony, it's picture time. So I need to stand on standby, let them know that you have 5 minutes to do your group picture, and then you need to leave the area. And next thing you know, I'm checking out my time. And the second block is starting literally in 3 minutes. Okay. So judges were able to take their 20, 25-minute break and everything. Me on my side, which I completely understand, the show must go on, the event must go on. So having breaks is very challenging during the event, which, is something that I'm putting in either my contracts, letting them know that I understand that I don't have the same amount of breaks as the judges or other people working within the event, because the voice needs to be the voice from beginning to end. But in the meantime, how I compensate is knowing already in advance where the restrooms are so I could be able to manage a plan, which I'm pretty good about it. Yeah, very, very good. And when it comes to food and drinks, I don't mind eating at my desk. I don't mind, having to be able to eat in between two teams that I'm announcing, as long as I have food, I guess, and something to drink also. So I would say basically these are the factors that I want people to understand, that yes, you have the show, but it's not only about the show. There is so much in the back that you guys maybe don't understand or maybe are not aware of, that if we could be able to have sort of like a respectable way to understand it, be more
Yeah.
comprehensive, that is absolutely amazing. After, if you do understand what's going on in order for you to have what you're actually seeing.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I even think like the award session, right? You think about how much time it takes for the people backstage to divide the banners and then put the medals into the bags that are labeled with the team, and they have how many that are on it. And like there's so many little things like that that athletes don't see or coaches don't see or families don't see, that really contributes to a successful event. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
So then you talk about,
Absolutely.
like you said, like they're 12, 13, 14-hour days where you're at competition. What are your top 3 must-haves?
In a competition,
Yeah.
a good DJ.
Yes.
Okay. A good one, a good DJ, because the music is so, so important. We here for 12 hours, constant cheerleading music. Okay. As much as we love the sport, as much as we are passionate with it, at the end of the season, I don't want to hear no more cheer mixes. Okay. I just can't. I
Need a little
can't.
break.
Okay. Give me a break. So, in between those performances, you need to have good music, okay? Don't put me some Adele, okay? Don't put me something where I'm gonna sleep around. Obviously, if you are a good DJ and you do understand that you're not in a club with a bunch of like 21 plus people and up. So please make sure that you have some good, clean music as well. And yeah, you need to vary also. Obviously, I'm an 80s babies, like the 90s, the boys band. You could give me literally an album of In Sync throughout the entire event. I am not gonna be mad about it. Okay. It's all about In Sync. It's all about Britney. It's all about, the Backstreet Boys. But I get it. You have now Gen Zs, you have that new trend of music. You need to balance it off. Okay. Yes, you're going to hear a little bit some of like the Elvis Presley. Why not? If we could go all the way back to the 60s, the 70s, a little bit of a mix where we have the opportunity for many, many hours of listening to that kind of music, that would be very good. This is really a must have, a good DJ. If I don't have a good DJ, I don't know, man. I'm going to find this day absolutely long. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing, a must is a good microphone, like a good sound system. Okay. In order for me to talk on the mic, and not having a bad voice, which I currently have, I'm sorry. I'm gonna silence myself for the next 2 days, okay, in order for me to
Get ready
go,
for Worlds.
get ready for Worlds. That I should be able to talk on the mic, okay, for 10 to 12 hours. Talk. All I do is talk. Yes, sometimes I'm gonna raise my voice, obviously, just to add that spark and that energy. But if I start screaming at the mic because I don't hear myself and people doesn't hear, it's because the sound system is not that good. Okay. I've been into competition where suddenly the mic just didn't work at all
No.
up till this year. They didn't work. So I had to use my natural voice in order for me to, use it. But in 20 minutes, it only took me 20 minutes to lose completely my voice because I had to compensate compared to if I had a competition at the end of March where I was the main host, the one and only, plus I did the award ceremony. It was a 3-day event. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But the sound was so perfect. Talking to the mic was for me having a regular conversation, around my kids in the living room, maybe with my husband. So throughout those 3 days, all the way until the end, people were so amazed. They're like, oh my God, you still have the voice. Yes, because I had the perfect sound system in order for
Yeah.
me to use my voice, And the other one is a good connection with the event producers. Okay,
Mm.
so let me explain. Some events that I've went didn't even offer me a bottle of water throughout
Mm.
10 to 12 hours. Okay. They didn't check up on me saying, hey, are you okay? Is everything okay? And again, it's a learning experience. It's a learning process. Maybe they're so not used to having a host which gives so much energy, but that energy needs to be fed, needs to have some drinks and everything. So at least I always say if I do a 2-day event, I need to have at least like 24 bottles of water right next to me. Okay.
Yeah.
I have my own bottle, my 2 liter of bottle, which I refill myself all of the time whenever I travel, which is good. Good food also. Okay. I understand when it comes to budget wise, I understand that it is cheaper to buy snacks with lots of sugar. But you know what happens whenever you have that sugar rush in your head? It is all the way up, and within the next 30 minutes, it all crashes down.
Yeah.
So feeding me with cookies and sugar and this and that throughout the entire day, it's not good for my health. It's not good for my system. I need fruits. I need veggies. I need water. I need protein, lots of protein in order for me to be able to give that energy because I could burn up to 1,000 calories per day whenever I host these types of events, thanks to my Apple Watch. Okay, I
Well, I
could
was just about
see
to say,
that.
I was like, you think about like feeding an athlete and how much you're putting out there on the mats. Like you're doing that for 12, 13, 14 hours.
Absolutely. So I would say this, these are my three major: good music, good sound system, and make sure that I have good food in order for me to do my job, which I'm going to give you my 300%. Okay. Again, I'm not flawless. I'm not perfect. I'm human. You could have some last minute situation where something in my life would have happened, but as soon as I take down a contract and as soon as, I am there, I'm going to give it all. I'm going to give my 300% because this is what the audience paid for. This is what the athletes are expecting of whenever, a week before the event, I post on my Instagram and say, hey, West Coast people, guess who's back, And I'm so excited again to get all of those feedbacks and all like so much love, guys. You have no idea, and it's crazy.
I love that. I know I talked about it in the beginning and I want to touch on it because I know how important it is, but you recently ran a super successful Black History Month project in the cheer community specifically. So, can you talk more about that? Talk about the response of it, all of it.
Absolutely. So this was my second year this year. I started the project last year. This is something that, was in my mind for many, many years. The representation, the Black representation into the cheerleading world. And I'm going to be very specific, okay? Because what you see in the States obviously does not reflect in Canada. I'm not American, okay? So what happened in the States, I don't know. Obviously, there's lots of Black people doing some cheerleading over into the United States. But in Canada, it is still considered, again, unfortunately, a stereotype. A stereotype, unfortunately, it is sidelined. It's not considered a sport. It's a girl sport. If you are a boy and you're or a cheerleader, obviously, it's only open to the gay community. All of those bad things that even still in 2026, back in 2024, when I started that project, it was something that really affected me. Okay. Because first of all, cheerleading is considered as a sport. It is recognized by the Olympic now since 2021, an official sport. Now we need to fight to have them into the Olympic, for many, many years ahead. But wow, okay, the amount of condition, the amount of time, the amount of hour, the amount of discipline, okay, that you need to build up a routine. Like you have to be an athlete. You are an athlete whenever you practice that sport. And unfortunately, in the Black community, it is not seen very often. If I take my own experience back home, back in Quebec, I could literally count less than 100 Black athletes up till now who is practicing that sport. Because if I ask the question within the Black community, hey, do you know cheerleading? Some of them are like, no, like the Dallas Cowboys, cheerleading. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, like the actual cheerleading squad. And then I refer them to Netflix, and this and that. It was really a challenge for me. And I was very surprised also back in 2024 to realize that, oh my God, there is not a lot of Black athletes, Black cheerleaders that are seen within the sport. And again, I don't want to neglect the event producers. I don't want to neglect anything that has to do with the event promotion. But mostly, whenever you are promoting your event, you're going to see the white cheerleaders,
Yeah.
in front of the post. Whenever, you have some action shots that are available, you're mainly going to see the white cheerleader in front. You need to depict, you need to go and get and get and get. So for the past 2 years now, almost 3 years, I've been talking to the event producers. I've been saying, hey guys, you need to expose, you need to put more diversity in your promotions. You need to show that whenever we preach, whenever we say that cheerleading is an inclusive sport, we have the diversity everywhere. We are promoting, we are LGBTQ whenever I believe it's in June.
Yep.
You have the entire month. We see Rainbow coming out in September also with our First Nation. We recognize everything. And in February, we had nothing. Like nothing was exposed, nothing was said. And I understand that Black History Month originally comes from the United States, but it is still something that we celebrate all over the world, It should not be only one month, it should be every day. So last year, I said, you know what? I want to start this movement. I want to start this project where I'm asking an athlete, a coach, someone that is in the cheerleading industry to share your story with us. And I have the privilege of having now 12,000 followers on my Instagram page. So I said, hey guys, send me a picture of yourself, send me a quick resume of your cheerleading experience, and I will be able to share this on my page. We're going to collaborate together. And for the entire month of February, the entire month of Black History Month, we're going to show people all over the world. My goal was literally all over the world that cheerleading is diverse. Cheerleading is accessible for everywhere. And the little voice that you have, the minority that you have either on your team or on your gym or in your gym, well, we see you. I see you. Okay. I definitely, definitely see you because I see me in you. So last year, I was able to post about 32 stories, even though it was supposed to be one per day towards the end. People were sending me their resume because they were like, oh my God, that's awesome, because it was really one. This year, I had 72 offers, okay, all across Canada, all over the United States, way over Europe. And even like the first week of March, people were still sending me their bio, and I responded to them, hey guys, I have 12 pending. I have 12 pending, and I'm like, listen, you're going to be my very first as of 2020, 27, as of next year, definitely. But I got praised. My God, parents, I received so much great testimonial from parents saying that, you know, like I'm making a change. It is something that is so important. And especially me being a Black woman into that industry for almost 30 years. It is something, again, it is part of me. It's been into my life, the 3/4 of my life. Cheerleading. I've been doing cheerleading since the age of 14. I'm not ashamed of saying it. I'm 43 now. Okay, 43 young old. And again, this is something that, I want to be able to be a model, first of all, for my 3 kids, and be also that voice that will be helping you out and saying that you matter too. You matter. You absolutely matter. You are part of your team. You are part of your gym. And even though you're not shown into the post or anything, I'm going to use my platform to show you who you truly are.
I love that. And I know, like, when I saw the campaign, I was like, that's incredible. As an LGBTQ plus athlete, highlighting other athletes and coaches who are in my community is such an important part of, like you said, when we approach June, and how we talk, right? How we talk with our athletes, how we talk with our parents, and that, and then to have that just keep growing, right? It's showing how many stories need to be told. And then as a result, I saw gyms seeing your campaign and then started posting. They were highlighting their staff, they were highlighting their athletes. And I was like, yes, like this is what this is about, right? Like that inclusion, and like you said, like showing diversity, showing inclusion from all aspects, right? So
Absolutely. I
I
saw
love
that
hearing that.
too. Like the first year, it was okay. But this year, actually, I've seen gyms, especially Voss, Vancouver All
Yep.
Star. I've seen this and I'm like, you know what? If I helped had have a big impact, could you imagine the following years? And I'm telling you, all the way to Europe, my post was seen and shared a lot. And in February, because I have my professional Instagram, I had up to 2.3 million views in my Instagram account. Yeah, all because of this project. Mainly I have up to like 500 to 600,000 viewers, which is good, which is absolutely amazing. But this is my standard in February. At the end of February, Instagram sent me a reminder saying, hey, your view exploded throughout that month, and which is the shortest month also of the year. So 2.3 million. I remember doing a story about it also. So I'm happy. I'm happy. And it is a good long term project. And eventually, hey, if we could have every single gym be able to do that, and having our federations be able to do that as well, also for that month of February, well, again, I would be very, very happy saying that, hey, I might influenced, I was able to help build that idea, which is something very, very amazing.
Which has not only an impact with the athletes and coaches that are currently in the gym, but you also think about when you see people like you're more likely to go join and do things, right? So you think about the long-term aspect of like how many Black athletes will come into the sport because now they're seeing themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was my goal. That was my goal. My goal is to make sure that everyone, the sport is inclusive. If you have that idea of saying you want to become a cheerleader, and remove the idea of saying, you know what, I can't because I'm not skinny enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm black, or I'm gay, or whenever you have a doubt in your mind, you have to remove it, because out of all of the sports that I've known and that I've practiced like most of all sport. I would say that cheerleading is a sport where we're not going to ask you to change or to fix something on you in order to continue your sport. Okay. You're perfect just the way you are. We want you. We don't want what you look like. We want you to join the team.
What is such a powerful statement. I love that so much. The whole highlight of the episode needs to be that right there. So we'll come back a little bit, and then I have a couple last few questions. So for people who are wanting to become an MC, what advice would you have for them?
Don't be afraid to make mistakes, okay? I've been doing that for 20 years. Up till now, I still do mistakes. You know what? I'm human. It is what it is, okay? So messing the team's name, okay? Switching the divisions, the amount of time that I said level 12.
Yep.
Okay? I believe that one time I said U6 level 6.
Be some awesome 6-year-olds.
Okay? Just own it. Own it. You are allowed. Take it as if, you know what, you did it. Just admit it and recorrect yourself. Okay? So assume yourself. Make sure that you have the confidence of saying that, listen, you have the mic. Okay? And in the eyes of all of you who is staring at you, you are the event, you are the judge, you are the photographer, you are the music, you are the lights, okay? You are the cheer mat, okay? You are the backdrop, you are everything, because guess what? You are holding the mic, okay? People think that you are responsible of everything. Okay. You're customer service. You're the retention group. You are everything. So in your mind, you need to have an open mind of saying, you know what, you might have these types of questions. Obviously, you don't have the answer. Obviously, it is not my territory, but you still need to answer it in a professional way. You need to be professional. Okay. You need to be bias, okay? You need to be transparent, okay? Your opinion matters, okay? Because yes, we are respectful, but guess what? Yeah, showing your opinion live also, like for example, if the team just passed, please do not say, oh my God, that team was awful. No, you don't say that, okay? In your mind, okay, if you see that the team had really, really big challenges on the mat, because it really does happen. Maybe it's not your day. Maybe it's not your event. That team deserve so much the same attention as if you just seen TGLC from Top Gun, okay? Every single team at the end needs to have the high peak, especially coming from the MC, because you're the voice of the event, okay? Something went wrong, the pyramid fell down, you didn't do your tumbling pass. Whenever the team is coming out of the mat, you as an MC, you did great. Awesome. Okay. Congratulations. You did everything that you can, and you did. And we are so proud of you. The impact, okay, that you are giving to that team, trust me, they will remember for many, many, many years. Okay.
100%.
Be also open, and be very flexible. You know, if we're saying that, I don't know, you have day one that was supposed to finish at 8:30, finally it's 9:15, you know, and you're still there. You're not gonna say, hey guys, I was supposed to be off by 8:30. Peace, see you, ciao, bye. You know, very, very flexible, very open-minded. You have a migraine, you know what? Tough it up. Go take your Tylenol, Advil, you know. That smile is very important for every single athlete, for every single one that is looking at you. You have thousands of people in front of you. You don't get the chance, you as an MC, to see every single person. But guess what? Those thousands of people see you, okay? You only. So in your mind, if you have that mindset of saying, you know what, this is what I want. For me, it's like an adrenaline for me. This is really what I crave for. Okay. Be able to be in front of thousands of people. And whenever I start talking, I could hear me and I see those eyes looking at me because they are paying attention to what I'm currently saying, oh my God, sky is the limit. Sky is the limit for me. So I'm making sure that I'm speaking well. I'm very professional. I am up to the look of representing this big event that people paid actually to come and see. They didn't pay to come and see me. They came to see the athletes perform, obviously. But again, being the voice, okay, that they're going to listen whenever they're going to have their replay, okay, or some magic moment that the photographer is taking and seeing, my face naming the team as the winner, as their certain position. Again, if you really want to be an MC and be able to do that, well, be prepared also to always give your 200%.
Yeah, I love that. Now you are incredible at your job, but
Thank
if
you.
you weren't doing that role, what other role in cheerleading or youth sports would you want to do?
Interesting question.
It usually is the one question that stumps a lot of people. They're like, "Wait, I didn't think about that."
I didn't think about it because being a judge, I'm sorry, I love the judge. Shout out to the judges, like peace, like heads down to all of you guys. Me doing that, never, never, never. My face is too expressional. So I would have like, if I see something that I love, I would have stand up and clap, you know? Good question. Something that has to do related with the announcement. So maybe be the DJ because, my music is very important and this and that. Maybe a crowd controller, okay? People that are, in the fan zone. Something that has to be a contact straight with the audience, okay? Because I love to talk. I love doing customer service. I need to do something, okay, either with my hands or with my mouth, blah, 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 talk, talk, talk. Because standing there, either in the back or either, even my vendors people, shout out to all of you guys, okay? But standing at a position for many, many hours trying to sell the product, oh my God, like kudos to you guys. You are good at what you do. Is it for me? No.
I love that. That's
I need
100% where
to
I would
move.
have thought you would have gone. So you need
I
that
need to move. I
connection
need
with the
to move.
people.
That's it. I need that interaction with the people.
I love that. Okay, final question, which is if you were to think back about 14-year-old, 16-year-old Nadia who's starting cheer and is like looking at what she wants to do, what do you wish that someone would have told you about what you were going to do in the future?
My God, you do not know what is waiting for you in the future, okay? You're going to have this amazing future because I always wanted to be an actress when I was small. Yeah, I wanted to be in the movie industry. I wanted to be a comedian. I always wanted to be in front of a public. And I love my parents to death. I love them very much. But obviously, they love and they want what's best for their kids. So, little hyped Nadia, coming in front of their parents and saying, I want to be an actress or I want to be a comedian. Obviously, my parents are like, is it going to feed your kids or is it going to pay your bills? You should be a doctor. You should be a lawyer. You should have a career where you will be very stable, which I listen. I was able to do lots of customer service years and, be able to provide for my family. Had a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job for the past 17 years, right after high school. I got married, got 3 kids. So I did listen to my parents, okay? Was I miserable? No. Okay. Was I happy? Yes, I was. I created 3 kids, obviously. But was it something that, I wanted to do? Not really, because I was still listening to Tiny Nadia that was saying, hey, I have the capacity of being out there and having people recognize my job because I'm so passionate about it. So, little Nadia, be patient because it's not in your 20s that it's going to happen. It's not in your 30s that it's going to happen. You're going to do whatever you want to do and your passion at the age of 41, okay? With a magnificent husband as a supporter and people who really, really, really believe in you will still stand by your side. So be patient. It's going to be there. And continue to, be you.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast,
Thank
Nadia,
you,
and
Rochelle.
talking with us. You're so welcome. Make sure to check back. And in our next episode, we'll be answering the question, what happens after the routine?